Hi, my name is Alex and welcome to the Crochet Circle.
In this video tutorial, I want to show you how to crochet a granny square, but this is a granny square with a twist and also changing colors. If you're wondering why is it with a twist, well, it's because each row that I'm making, I'm flipping the granny square around, so I have the perfect square shape. This is one of the secrets I already left you in on one of my previous videos, where I already showed you how to make a one color, single color granny square. This is the pattern I used for this granny square as well. As you can see, it doesn't have many holes, and I also showed you in another video tutorial how to make this classic basic granny square where the spaces between the two clusters are with a chain 1 and you have a chain 2 between the two clusters in the corner. So both of those video tutorials, the links are in the description below, so you can go and check them out. Why I'm gonna be using the pattern with less holes, if you're wondering, well, at the end I'm gonna do a coin purse and I'm gonna show you how to sew everything together. So I don't want any of my coins dropping out of my coin purse, so that's why I have this pattern that is more compact and doesn't have as many holes. Now in this video tutorial I'm gonna show you how to go up into the next row with a chain 3. There is also one possibility where you can do a standing double crochet, but that is for one of my next videos. In this video I want to show you how to go up into the next row with a chain 3. There is, you can see it just a bit, the difference between a chain 3 and a double crochet, but from the distance I think it's still not as visible as some people might think. Now that you know what I'm gonna be doing today, let's get started. So here I have my yarn, it's cotton yarn, and I have my 3mm crochet hook. I kind of already put out the order, in which kind of an order I'm gonna make the granny square, the colors, how they're gonna be changed. So I'm gonna start with the light pink. The pattern is the same as I already showed you in the previous video tutorial, so the link is actually down in the description below, and also the pattern will be up here somewhere. So I'm gonna begin with a magic ring. So I have yarn twice around my thumb, go through both loops with my crochet hook in, grab the yarn, and now I have to do 1, 2, 3 chains. This one already counts as the first double crochet. Now I still have to do 2 double crochets, so that's 1, 2. Now for the corner I need to do chain 1, and now I need to do a cluster of 3 double crochets again, so that's 1, 2, 3. Now again I'm in the corner, chain 1 and another 3 double crochets, so that's 1, 2, 3, chain 1 and another 3 double crochets, so that's 1, 2, 3, chain 1, and because I need to join it with the first stitch, I'm actually gonna cut the yarn because I'm gonna join it invisibly. Cutting the yarn, pulling the yarn through, Now I have to close up my magic ring and grab my needle. Now I'm not gonna go into the, let's focus a bit more. I'm not gonna go into the chain 3 in the third chain of the start, but I'm gonna go into the first double crochet. I'm going in with my stitch and I'm overlaying the chain 3, and I'm going back to where I started from. Pulling it tight. And now I have to work in the end tail. That means I'm just going around on the bottom. And I can cut the yarn. Now this is row number 1 done. I have those 4 spaces with the chain 1 where I'm gonna be putting my corners in. So I'm gonna begin with row number 2. So row number 2 is gonna be light purple, and now this is the face side of the beginning of the granny square. Because I don't want it to twist, I'm gonna flip it around and I'm gonna work around on the back side. So this is the front side, this is how I was crocheting. Now I have to flip it around. Now I'm gonna work on the back side. So in this tutorial I'm gonna show you how to start with a chain, the new row, but in one of the next video tutorials I'm gonna also show you how to do a standing double crochet. So how I begin, the yarn is at the back, I'm going in with my crochet hook, grabbing the yarn, this is the loop, and now I just have to do 1, 2, 3 chains. This already counts as the first double crochet. Now I need 2 more double crochets, so that's 1, 2. Now I need to skip this cluster of 3 and go into the next chain 1, and in that chain 1 I need to do 3 double crochets, chain 1 and another 3 double crochets. In the next chain 1 space I have to do 3 double crochets, chain 1 and another 3 double crochets. In the next chain 1 space, 3 double crochets, chain 1 and 3 double crochets. Now here in the beginning I've already done one cluster of 3 double crochets, so I need 1 more to make it into a perfect corner. So I'm going into the chain 1 space and doing 3 double crochets, chain 1, and because it's the end of the row I can cut the yarn. Again, I'm gonna join it invisibly, so grabbing my needle. Again, I'm not going into the third stitch in of the chain 3, but I'm going into the stitch where the first double crochet is. I'm going in, overlapping the chain 1 and going back from where I started. Pulling it tight so that the stitch is not seen, and now I have to work in the loose end. So I'm going back up and I'm going into the next cluster. And down. And back. Now, how many times you want to go left and right and up and down is completely up to you, but I would suggest that you work in at least that much of a tail, so it won't get lost if you pull your granny square. Now, to do the same with the starting tail, I just have to work it in. I'm going up on the stitch. And into the next one down. And through the cluster. And that's it. Now all these scrap ends, don't throw them away because you can definitely use them to put in the filling for your amigurumi. But now my second row for the granny square is done. Now the third row is gonna be, let's say, pink. Again, now I'm actually gonna start in the space between the two clusters, or between the two corners. Hope you can see it. So I'm gonna start here between the two corners. I'm going in the same way as I'd done before, but first this was my front side, so now I have to flip it, and I have the front side of the first row, the back side of the second row, and now in the third row I'm again gonna be facing it the right way. So I'm just gonna start with a chain of 3, 1, 2, 3. Now this starting tail, I'm gonna kind of hold it and push it to the left side. So when I'm gonna do the first double crochet, I'm gonna also work in the end tail, the starting tail, sorry. And that is 1, 2, 3. Of course, I will have to work it in more, but for now it's secured. Now I'm at the corner. Each corner is 3 double crochets, chain 1 and 3 double crochets. Now if you're using any other patterns for the granny squares, just do as many chain 1s as you need to do in the corner, and perhaps even in between the two clusters you need a chain 1 or chain 2. Just do them by your own pattern, but don't forget the pattern that I'm using, this one, it doesn't have any chain 1s between the stitches. So now it's between the two corners, just 3 double crochets. In the corner one, I'm gonna do 3 double crochets, chain 1, and another 3 double crochets. Corner done. Now this is the space between the corner, so just 3 double crochets in there. In the corner, 3 double crochets. That's 1, 2, 3, chain 1, and another 3 double crochets. In the space between the two corners, 3 double crochets, and in the corner, 3 double crochets, chain 1, and 3 double crochets. Now I have to join it with the first stitch, so I'm gonna cut the yarn, pull the yarn through, get my needle. I'm not again going into the stitch where the third chain is, but I'm going into the first double crochet stitch on top, and then going back to where I came from and pulling it tight so it's overlapped the chain 3 stitch. Now all I have to do is work the end tail in, I'm gonna go up and cross and over to the next cluster and down and through and up and into the next one and hide it in the corner. I have to do the same with the starting tail. And that's it. Now row number 3 is done. I'm gonna do 2 more rows just to make it more clear to you how it's done. I hope you can actually not see where it begins and where it ends, and that's the main purpose of it. So now I'm gonna do a green one. If you don't want to change each row a color, then you don't have to. You can then definitely use the beginning of the row, as I already showed you in the previous video where I was showing you how to make a granny square in a single color. So I was working, this is of the last row, this is the face up. I have to turn it around, and now I'm gonna continue on the back side. I'm going in. To be honest, where you want to go in is, I usually try to avoid the corners because the corners have a chain 1. So from the third row up, just go in between the corners in one of those spaces between the clusters of 3 double crochets. So I'm going into the one space between the 2 clusters. So I'm gonna start with the chain 3, 1, 2, 3. You see my end tail? I'm pulling it up onto the left side. So when I'm doing a double crochet, the end tail is hidden in that. And that's the first cluster of 3 double crochets done. Now I'm at the corner, again corner, 3 double crochets, chain 1 and 3 double crochets. Now this is a stitch between 2 clusters, so just 3 double crochets inside. Again, a stitch between 2 clusters, 3 double crochets inside. Now this is a corner stitch. For the corner stitch, another corner, so that means 3 double crochets, chain 1 and another 3 double crochets. Now this is the cluster between the 2 stitches, so that means I'm just gonna do 3 double crochets in between. Again, the space between 2 clusters, 3 double crochets in between. Here is the corner is 3 double crochets, chain 1 and another 3 double crochets. Now this is between the corners, just a normal 3 double crochets. And another 3 double crochets. In the corner, 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets. Again, stitch between the clusters, just 3 double crochets. And I'm already at the beginning or at the end, so I can cut the yarn. Pulling the yarn through. Again, I'm not going into the third stitch of the chain 3. I'm going into the first double crochet stitch. And I'm coming back to where I started, pulling the yarn through, because this stitch overlays the chain 3. Now all I have to do is work the end tail in. I'm going up and over and down and in and I can go up a bit again and into the next stitch down and back. Now I have to get rid of the starting tail, again using my needle. I'm going up the stitch into this cluster of 6. Have a bit of a shorter tail here, but I'm gonna be able to work it in as well. And that's it. So now I have 1, 2, 3, 4 rows done. I'm gonna go now with the blue. I think you already know how it's gonna start, so first things first, I've been working, this is the face side of the previous row, so I have to flip it around. Then I'm going in with my crochet hook. Again, where you want to go in is anywhere you want. I would suggest going in somewhere where you didn't finish, so I'm gonna go in perhaps here. It can be on the left or on the right side. You can even do it in the corner if you want, but I'm gonna do it in the middle, and I'm gonna start with a chain 3. Again, my end tail, pulling to the left side and doing the 2 more double crochets, because the chain 3 already counts as the first double crochet. And I think you already know how the granny square is done, so in between the 2 clusters of 3 stitches, you just do 3 double crochets. And the corner is 3 double crochets, chain 1 and another 3 double crochets. Again, between the 2 stitches there's a small gap where you can put in your 3 double crochets. Again, 3 double crochets in between the 2 clusters of 3 double crochet stitches of the previous row. Now you do know that there is no limits on how big your granny square is gonna be, but depending on the project that you need, you do it as big as you want. Now for my coin purse that I'm gonna be making out of all these granny squares, I am gonna stop at this row, but I think now you really do know how to change the color of the granny square and how to go up into the next row and basically just how to do the granny square, because the pattern for this one is 3 double crochets, no chains in between the stitches, between the clusters of 3 double crochets. There's just one chain in the corner. And this pattern is more, for me, suitable for coins and purses and bags and stuff, because it doesn't have so many holes. But to be honest, even the pattern where I've done the chain 2 between the corners and a chain 1 between the clusters of stitches looks really good as well. So whatever pattern you are taking, just stick to it. And one reason why you have to stick to it is the number of stitches. The point is, once you are gonna be joining the granny squares, it's gonna be stitch for stitch, and if you're gonna have different number of stitches, then it won't work out joining them like squares. So that's why all the squares for me are gonna have the same number of stitches. Of course you can try to adjust them, but then you are not gonna be making, perhaps if you're missing just 1 or 2 stitches, then you're not gonna be making double crochets, but just a row of single crochets, just to give it a bit more, a bit larger size to get out of them. And with all my talking, I'm already at my last stitch. I can cut the yarn, pull the yarn through, grab my needle, again, I'm not going into the 3rd chain of the beginning, I'm going into the 1st double crochet, and I'm coming back from where I started. So I'm overlaying the chain 1, the chain 3, and all I have to do now is just hide the end tail in, and I'm going up here and over into the corner and down and through. And now with the starting tail, I have to do the same. I'm going up, I'm going over, down, through this cluster of 3, I'm going up, over and down, and just hiding it in. And now I can cut the yarn. And that's it. Now, if you need more rows, you just continue with the same principle. Just attach the new yarn anywhere you want with a chain 3, and when you join it, don't forget to join it invisibly. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, let me know with a thumbs up. If you want to know when I'm gonna be bringing up something new, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell button so you will get all the notifications. And I think I can say until the next time, happy crafting! Bye!